All right, guys, back again with another sermon. I know it's been a minute, but glad to be back. Mixing it up just a little bit. Y'all know I mostly wear black, but as you can see, I'm wearing my favorite pineapple shirt here. Just doing something a little bit different today. This particular sermon is going to have some stories of people being on boats and ships and arcs and being out on the water and being stranded on an island. So I just figured I'd wear my pineapple shirt. I figured it'd be kind of appropriate for this. But anyway, the name of this sermon is going to be called Closed and Out of Order. Closed and Out of Order. You know, when you go to a particular store, you want to shop at, and they've got that sign that says closed. Or you go to a gas station, maybe you're not trying to buy anything, you just stop so you could use the restroom, and you go inside and you get to the restroom and the door says out of order. Yeah, that. Closed and out of order. Somebody is about to be closed and out of order. And that might sound like a bad thing, but whoever this message is for, this is actually a good thing for you. You are about to be closed and out of order. What do I mean by that? So, this is going to be a good one. This sermon, in this particular sermon, it's going to be a little bit similar to some sermons I've done in the past. However, it's different because of the reasoning behind it. You know, I've done sermons before where I've talked about people trying to basically sabotage you, do you wrong behind your back. They try to ruin things for you, try to ruin your life, try to make you look bad, and try to put dirt on your name. They do all these things. And I say that sometimes it's out of anger or envy or jealousy or hate or, vengefulness and all these negative things. However, in this particular message, I am talking about people trying to sabotage you, trying to hold you down, cause you trouble. But the reasoning behind it is a little bit different. In this particular sermon, whoever needs this word, you have some people or a person. It's not someone distant from you. It's not a hidden enemy. It's someone right in your face. It's someone you know, someone close to you. It could be a friend or a family member or somebody you're in a relationship with. But it's somebody closer to you. And this person has been saying things or doing things to basically sabotage you, to try to cause you problems, to try to hinder your life or your progress. And for some of them, simply put, they just wish bad on you. They think bad towards you. And their reasoning behind this is not because they hate you. It's not because they're mad. It's not necessarily because they're jealous. It's not all those things. The reason why they are trying to hinder you and hold you back is because they feel like they need you. They feel like they can't move forward in life without you. So they hinder you so that you will stay put, so that you will stay with them, so that you will stay in their presence, so that you will stay in a relationship or a friendship with them. See, they feel like if you get too ahead in life, you will leave them because you will have better options. They have low self-esteem. See, it's not really about you. It's not that they have something against you. It's an internal thing with them. They have low self-esteem, unfortunately. They don't think they can make it without having somebody to attach themselves to. And so they see that they can attach themselves to you. So they're trying to keep you bound, and they're trying to make you feel like you need them because secretly they feel like they need you, but they can't say that. So anything they can do to keep you not getting to a certain point in your life, that's what they want to do. Or they want it to be set up to where if you do move forward in life, it has to be because of them, so that you will feel indebted to them, so that you will always stick around. See, they have a hard time believing that you or certain people like you will stick around because you love them and because you care about them. They have a hard time believing that if you get to a certain point in your finances, or if you get to a certain point in your career, or if you get to a certain point in any area of your life, if you succeed in life, if you get to a certain caliber, they have a hard time believing that you will stick around, that you will want to continue to be friends with them or continue to be in a relationship with them, because you'll have more options. They don't think you'll stick around because they don't think much of themselves. So if you're down low with them, you'll stay. But if you grow and prosper in life, they feel like you will leave because they don't feel like they're much to stick around for. So they do things and they say things and they try to manipulate things in your life to try to keep you bound to them. But God is getting ready, because you're so good to the Lord, you're so faithful to the Lord, because you have a heart for God, and God sees your situation and He understands what's going on, even if you don't get what's going on. So, what God is about to do is, when people least expect it, He's actually about to, He's going to manipulate some things. Right? God's going to say, it's my turn to manipulate some things, and He's going to cause certain situations and circumstances to happen in your life so that you will be detached supernaturally from this person, and you are going to go up and away, while this person that tried to control your life and control situations and circumstances in your life for their own benefit will be left in a position and a situation where they are going to have to learn to rely on God the way you did. See, they're not going to be able to rely on you anymore. They're going to have to rely on the Lord. Because if they can't learn to rely on the Lord, they're just going to have to figure it out on their own. But they can't use you to figure it out anymore. Come on. They will not be able to use you to figure their own life out and their own future out anymore. And no, it's not mean. It's not the Lord being mean. It's actually God being very good and very gracious, not only to get you out of a trap that you're in, whether you know you're in it or not, but it's God having mercy on the person that's trying to use you, because instead of the Lord punishing this person, the Lord is showing enough grace to this person to say, hey, if you will allow me, I will help you. I will fix your life. Instead of you trying to use other people to balance out your life. So, if you're following along in scripture, there's only a couple of places we're going to be at. We'll be in Acts chapter 28 and Genesis chapter 7 if you want to go ahead and start turning to those areas. Acts 28, Genesis 7. Now, while you're going there, I'm going to share a couple of stories real quick to kind of set the tone for this, because it's not a lot of scripture to go over. I'll just share a couple of things real quick. So, several years ago, I was in a relationship with someone, and at the time, I had some pretty low self-esteem, and they did as well. But this particular person, and I'm not trying to sound mean or ugly, but I mean he really had low self-esteem, unfortunately. And he was the type who, when we first got together, he it seemed like he wanted me to be happy. But there came a point where I began to see that anything that kind of made me happy, he kind of had an issue with it. But anytime I was kind of down or upset about something, or maybe something didn't work out for me the way that I wanted it to, it was like he was kind of happy about it. So, for example, if, you know, let's say I make a new friend, or, he sees that I'm having a good time with somebody, even though it's innocent, he will feel some kind of way about it because he knows that I like guys and women. So to him, it's anything is a threat, right? It's a threat to the relationship. So it's almost like a jealousy thing. So he felt some kind of way about it. But let's say something bad has happened, or I'm not happy about something. I tell him about something that kind of upset me, and I would notice he would quietly say under his breath, "Good." Why would you say good? Why would you be happy that I'm unhappy about something? Now, again, this just shows that we both have low self-esteem. I have low self-esteem because why would I want to continue to be with somebody who's happy in my misery? But you see his low self-esteem because why would you want bad for the person that you're with just so you can feel good about yourself? You're not happy with your life. So if I'm not happy, now you're happy that I'm not happy. But he's happy when I'm not happy because to him, it's a sign that I'm going to stick around. And I'll show you just how bad it really got. So we were big into video games, right? Which I love games still to this day. I just don't have as much time to really do it between working a lot of hours and doing drag and hosting drag and recording sermons and studying for sermons and going to the gym. And, I don't really have the time that I used to for games that much. But I was very much a big gamer, a big Xbox fan. I know some of y'all that are PlayStation fans are probably going boo right now, but but anyway, it's kind of like I joke about that. It's kind of like how people argue about which one's better, Chevy or a Ford. That's how people are in the game world. Either you gotta like Xbox or you gotta like PlayStation. But whatever, I guess. But anyway, uh, but we were big into games, and he got to the point where if I did good on a video game, he'd get mad. But if I was struggling at a video game, he'd be happy about it. Because if I was struggling, to him, that meant that I would be sticking around longer. But if I did good at a game and if I got better at it than him, he'd get so mad and offended. And sometimes he'd get emotional about it. And he'd start talking about how he just knows that I'm going to leave him. And to me, that was such a strange correlation. Why would you tie in success to not just life, but in a mere video game, to the possibility of me leaving you? It got so bad, y'all. Listen, this one night, he was out with some of his friends. They were playing video games at his friend's house. And instead of me going, I decided to stay home because I can't remember if it was Rock Band or Guitar Hero, but one of those games that came out, and I was really close to finishing the game. So I stayed home because I wanted to finish this game, and I beat the game. And I had tried to get a contact of the guy I was with to let him know, but he didn't pick up. He was like focused on this game he was playing with his friends. So I wanted to brag about it, right? I was excited. And so I contacted one of his buddies I knew he was hanging with, and I called him and I said, hey, hey, let everybody there at the house know I beat this game. He was like, oh yeah, that's cool. Da, 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 da. So we were talking about it. So we get off the phone, right, and I'm finishing up doing what I'm doing with the game, like, celebrating or whatever. And so anyway, so another day it came, and I was talking to that same friend of the person I was with, and he was confused. He was like, "What's going on with you and my buddy, my friend?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he went on to explain to me that night when I made that call and said that I had beat this video game, when he had announced it to everybody that I had beat this game, he was saying that my boyfriend, his friend, which is my boyfriend, he was saying that he broke down in tears. And when they asked what was wrong, he went on and on about how he just knew I was going to leave him. And so, his buddy, me and his buddy are talking, and he's like, "What's going on?" And I'm just as confused as he is, because I don't know why he would be saying that. But then it hit me. He had just announced that I had beat this game, and that's the mindset that he had. He had the mindset that because I did good on a video game, just like if I do good or I'm successful at anything in life, that's a sign that my life is going good and that I'm going to leave him, because the only way I'm going to stick around is if something bad is happening. That's just how bad it got with him. Just hearing that I finished a video game, that I beat a video game, brought him to literal tears in front of all his friends, and he went on a whole rant about how he just knows I'm going to end up leaving him. All because I was successful at a video game. That's just how bad his self-esteem was and how bad his mental health was, actually. And again, not trying to make fun, but I'm just telling you, there are people that are like that. There are people, you got friends, you got people you might be in a relationship with, you got people in the workplace, they don't want to see you get ahead, and sometimes it's not a fellow coworker, sometimes it's the boss. You leave a job, and then that boss is like, oh, well, they're not going to make it. They're not going to make it there. And you leave and you go to another job, and all of a sudden, in a matter of weeks, you get this big promotion, and your old boss hears about it, and they feel some kind of way because they were just so determined to not see you level up, right? You know what I mean? Not because you're a bad person, but because of their own insecurities and issues. You've got people whoever this is for, you've got somebody or some people who they hate to see you do good or have some success in anything, especially if it's something that they didn't help you with, because to them, it's a sign that you might get away from them, and they feel like they have to have you. Years ago, there was a woman that I knew, an adult, but a young woman, and she would talk about how her life was pretty much on hold because of her mother. She said that, long story short, she had dropped out of school, and a lot of it had to do with her mother. And she said that whenever, because she didn't have a car, but her mother would take her where she needed to go. And she said whenever she would get ready to take her test for her GED, every time her mother was supposed to take her, all of a sudden she had something else better to do, or she wasn't feeling well. Anytime she got an opportunity for a job that would actually hire her, not having the high school diploma, every time she had an opportunity for an interview, all of a sudden her mom wasn't feeling well, or all of a sudden her mom had to go do this or do that. And then if she did get hired somewhere, first day at the job, she couldn't go. Why? Because her mom was supposed to give her a ride. And all of a sudden, her mom had this and that to do. And she went on and on about how it always kept happening. And she said, and I felt it in my gut, something in me was telling me, like, she's doing it on purpose. Her mother's doing it on purpose. And right after I thought that, the girl that was saying all this stuff, she goes, I really feel like she's doing this on purpose. And I kept wanting so bad just be like, yes. But I kept it to myself. I kept my mouth shut because I'm thinking, it's not my business. I'm not going to get involved in it, But deep down in my gut, I'm thinking, yes, that is exactly what's happening. Her own mother was sabotaging her life, wanting to keep her from moving forward and moving up in life because she's wanting her to stay attached to her because it's beneficial to keep her around. And there are some parents that are that way. Sometimes you may have a mother, which a guy could do it too, but you might have a mother who maybe she doesn't have a husband or a boyfriend or, some male figure to help her throughout life to pay bills or whatever. And so sometimes they may have that one child who, when they become adult, they see that that child may not have a whole lot going on for them. And so they may try to attach themselves to that child. And, anytime that child tries to get a decent job or tries to get a decent vehicle or tries to get a driver's license or whatever it is, they do whatever they can to sabotage these opportunities, right? So that the person doesn't get too far ahead, or they can get a job, but they can only have part-time and not full-time, or they get the full-time, but they can't get, a much better paying job than a minimum wage one, because if they get too much money, they'll get away, and they can only have so much money to maintain the household that they're in with that parent, right? It's always some kind of a sabotage. It's always some type of a control to keep listen, they have that kid gets in a relationship, and that kid wants to move out with who they're with, and that person will say, oh, you don't need to move out with that person. You don't need to do that until you get married. And it sounds like they're going by the Bible, but really they don't want the kid to move out because they want the kid to stay attached to them. They don't want their son or daughter, no matter how old they get, they don't want that son or daughter to really get out there and have success and start moving further and further away, because they want to sabotage things so that they stay right there. Even if they have all this potential to do all these things and they have all these big dreams to do all these things, that parent will think, if those dreams will cause them to get too far away, I gotta stop it from happening. And so what the Lord is about to do is this. It's almost like the Lord is going to cause you to be closed and out of order. And what I mean is, if you go to a store and the sign says closed, you cannot go in. So it's almost like there are boundaries set. Come on. And so that's what he's doing. He's closing you so that you have boundaries from these people. And it's also as if he's making you out of order. In other words, it's kind of like the analogy I gave where sometimes we go to a gas station just to use the restroom. We're not going to buy gas. We're not going to buy food. We just stop to use the restroom. Nothing's wrong with that. I mean, I do it all the time, when you drive and travel a lot. But the problem is sometimes we do that in relationships. We want to go and use the restroom, so to speak. In other words, we want to use a person to relieve us, to make us feel better, but we don't want to give anything in return. We don't want to buy the gas. We don't want to buy the food. We don't want to be reciprocal. There's no reciprocity. There's no true reciprocity in the relationship. That person just wants to take and use you for relief, but not give anything back. And so no longer will you be that gas station restroom for that person. You are about to be closed and out of order to some of these people who are only using you and sabotaging you for their own personal gain. It is a self-esteem issue, and maybe for some a mental health issue. And it's a sad thing, but it can no longer be your problem, because God has better for you and he wants to do things in your life, and he cannot bless you the way he's really wanting to bless you, because if he does, that leech is going to suck you dry of all of what God is trying to bring in store for you. They have to get it from God themselves. And some of them, they're just going to have to work and get it out the mud the way they've been needing to. Some of you got people, you're in a relationship, they're trying to sabotage you. It could be a family member, they're trying to sabotage you. Some of you might have a roommate You got a roommate. They know you're trying to save up money, and every now and then here they come. Let me borrow this. Let me borrow that. I know you got some money. I know you got some money. And the funny thing about it is, truth be told, a lot of times they're not being honest with you. They're making it seem like this happened and that happened and they don't have the money. And a lot of times they'll have the money, but they're acting like they don't have it to get it from you. And what they're doing is they're doing two things. Number one, they're pocket watching you to see just how much money you have, because if it seems like you got a lot, if they can keep taking it from you, it'll keep you from saving up for whatever you're trying to save for. Come on. Number one, they're pocket watching. And two, they're purposely trying to keep you from building your cash, right, by continuously asking you for money. So it ain't that they need the money. They just don't want you to have the money. So they got to always borrow, and they always got to ask for this and ask for that to keep that hole in your pocket, so that you never get forced, so that you can never move out and get away from them, so that you can never fix your car, so that you can never, come on, so that you can never do X, Y, and Z. Come on. So there's all these different things, and God is about to free some people. Let's look at this. Acts, starting at verse 1 here in chapter 28. Now, what we see here in the chapter before this one is talking about Paul, the Apostle Paul, the mighty man of God, who God used mightily to travel to different places and minister to different people and to tell people the good news, the gospel of Jesus Christ. And he's traveling about and he experiences a shipwreck. He's shipwrecked. And let's look at what it says here in chapter 28 here at the beginning. It says, and when they were escaped, then they knew that the island was called Melita. And the barbarous people showed us no little kindness, for they kindled a fire and received us, everyone, because of the present rain and because of the cold. And when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, there came a viper out of the heat and fastened onto his hand. And when the barbarians saw the venomous beast hang on his hand, they said among themselves, no doubt this man is a murderer, whom though he hath escaped the sea, yet vengeance suffereth not to live. And he shook off the beast into the fire and felt no harm. Howbeit they looked when he should have swollen or fallen down dead suddenly, but after they had looked a great while and saw no harm come to him, they changed their minds and said that he was a god. So Paul finds himself stranded on this particular island, him and all the people that he was on the ship with. And in the beginning, they are welcoming. It's raining, it's cold. So they're welcoming Paul and all these people and trying to let them start up a fire. And as they start up this fire, a snake jumps out of the fire and bites Paul on the hand, a viper. And so when the people see this, people begin to jump to conclusions. And they say that this man must be a bad man. He must be a murderer. He must be an evil man, because this snake has jumped out and bit him. Now that's pretty crazy. I mean, stuff like that happens. People get bit by snakes and stung by bees and stung by scorpions and attacked by animals. I mean, it happens when you're just out in the middle of nowhere. It can happen. So for people to just jump to this conclusion that this is something that he deserved to have happen to him, and you know what I mean, that you know he's getting what's coming to him, is wild. But they believe these bad things. They say these bad things. And it goes on to say that they're hoping, or they're believing within, that he's not going to make it, that he's not going to move forward, that he's going to possibly die. And so they watch him. Now, here's the crazy part. They're not in a panic. They're not like, oh my God, what should we do? They're not running up to him and saying, are you okay? No one's trying to treat him medically or try to find somebody that can help him. Nobody's in a panic. Nobody's, oh my gosh, what, let's comfort him. No. They're literally just watching him to see what happens. And if God had not healed him, they basically would have just been sitting around watching this man suffer and possibly die from, a venomous snake bite. So they're just watching him with the mindset that he's not going to make it, that he's not going to get off this island. Wow. How people can turn on you, how people can suddenly have a shift of a mindset about you or a change of heart about you. First, they're welcoming, and now they see something bad happen and they're glad about it, and they have these evil thoughts that you're not going to get ahead. Oh, does that sound familiar? Sometimes, y'all, when people try to sabotage you, there's an expression that people use and they call it shipwreck. They say that the person is trying to shipwreck you. Another way of saying sabotage. And here we have a story of someone who is shipwrecked. He's welcomed at first, but then those that seem to treat him well, all of a sudden see something bad happen. They're feeling good about this bad thing happening to him. And now they're hoping that due to this bad thing that he doesn't get to move ahead and move forward in life. And that's what's happened with some of y'all. Some of y'all, you have found yourself in a place, in a friendship, in a relationship, in some type of ship. You've been shipwrecked or sabotaged. And the one that seemed to love you so much and care about you so much, they want bad for you, and they're hoping you don't get ahead. So they're quietly watching you and pocket watching you and checking here and there, often, regularly, to see how far ahead it seems like you're getting without them. So listen, they do it in hopes that you really don't get too far ahead. But what ends up happening is God steps in and sets it up to where nothing happens to Paul. Nothing happens. He's just fine. And so as the people watch and begin to see that he survives this attack, some people begin to have a change of heart. And they go from believing that God must be punishing him to now thinking that he is a God. And so what ends up happening is he receives help, and he eventually gets a whole nother boat to leave the area on. Oh, come on. Somebody needs to hear this word. Let me tell you something. You've been shipwrecked, booby trapped. Come on. Hoodwinked, bamboozled. You got somebody making you or trying to make you feel like they care, but they've been watching you and pocket watching you and being nosy on the sly, trying to see all the work that you're putting in and hoping that it comes to nothing. Acting like they're helping you, but really they're not. Really, they're trying to manipulate things to keep you from getting ahead because they think that you getting ahead in life and having a lot of success means that they'll be out of the picture and they can't use you anymore. Because that's really what it's all about. That's what this ship is all about. This friendship, this relationship, this family ship. Because sometimes your family don't mean you know well. Come on. And so God is going to miraculously fix a bad situation. It could be a health issue you're going through, a financial issue you're going through, some type of attack that you've endured, but he's going to fix it. And at a time people least expect, he's going to, quote unquote, bring a ship in, using that expression. Come on, talking about when the ship comes in. When people say when the ship comes in other words, they're saying when your help comes. So when he brings that new ship in, oh, come on, somebody. He's going to get you out of the situation, and he's going to cause you to be detached from this person or these people who have been quietly watching you and hoping that you don't get out of the situation they think they have you in. Oh, come on. Last place I want to take you to is Genesis chapter 7, starting at the beginning. Now, many of us, we know this story. It's the story of Noah's Ark. God having Noah build an ark. Here we are, still on the theme of ships and boats and being on the water. But he gets him to build an ark. And let's look at this. It says, "And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark. For thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and of the beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female, of fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. For yet 7 days I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him. And watch this. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth." We know that the Lord was getting sick and tired of all the rebellion and frustration that was going on. There was a lot of rebellion. A lot of people were just sinning and not really having a repentant heart to God, towards God. And what ended up happening was God decided, you know what? I'm going to wash everybody out. I'm going to wash everything and everybody out. We're going to start this over. But Noah found grace. Noah found mercy in the sight of the Lord. And so God decided he was going to help out Noah. He was going to save Noah and his family and save only a certain amount of the creatures that were made. And he was going to have them go into this ark and close it up when the time was right. And he was going to cause a great flood to flood the world, to wash everything out and start over. And it says that when all this happened, he was 600 years old. I'm pointing this out to say this. Whoever this is for, something is being held against you that shouldn't be. It could be your age. Somebody might be looking and saying you're too old or you're too young. They're saying because of your age, you should be further ahead in your life than what you are. Or they're saying that because you're so young, you don't deserve to be so far ahead in your life. And for some of you, it could be a mixture of both. I know some people, since I'm 37, some people may feel like I should be doing more. And some people look at my age and say, you know, I'm too far ahead compared to them. Or some people, you know, they look at me and they think that I'm younger than what I am. And they say, you know, how have you done so much? And how are you where you are? And then they find out how old I am, and they're like, oh, So some people discriminate based off of my age or based off of how old or young they think I look. And so that might be the case for you. And then there are some people, for whoever this is for, it might not be an age thing. It might just be your appearance, your style. Some people look at how you dress or your tattoos or your piercings or how you wear your hair. Maybe you got spikes or you got a mullet or you got a mohawk or it could be all kinds of different things. But maybe you're trans. I don't know. Maybe you're gay or whatever. Maybe it's the fact that you're a female, or maybe people are judging you based off of your race. It could be any of those things. Trust me, if you see what I look like, I know all about it. Listen. I am very much considered a minority for a variety of reasons. Race and gender identity and who I love and age and all that. So I understand. I do. But whoever this is for, because this particular verse 7, verse 6, it really stood out to me about his age. And I'm just pointing out whoever this is for, whether you know it or not. You've got some people, you've got some folks really having an issue with something about you that really should not matter. It shouldn't matter. Whatever this problem is, your age or your ethnicity or, any of these things, it's not supposed to matter when it comes to this situation. But you've got somebody or some people that are so pressed about it. I mean, they just can't get over it. Something about you, they just feel like you shouldn't be able to move forward. They feel like you should be able to be stuck. They feel like you shouldn't be able to get too much further than them because you don't deserve it because of who you are. And it don't matter that you're a good person. It doesn't matter that you're good to them. All these things don't matter to them. They just have something about you that they hold against you that they shouldn't. But in God's eyes, it doesn't matter. In fact, that very thing that they have something against might be the very thing that God thinks qualifies you when everybody else thinks that you're disqualified. God is just like, nope, you're the one. You're perfect for the job. I made you for the job. I have anointed and appointed you for this job. And so now, because of what you've gone through that has built you up, and because of your faithfulness to me through it all, I am now ready to bless you. But first, let me pull you out of the mess that you're in. People always say, oh, God don't bless no mess. Actually, he does. That's kind of the point. God is all about taking someone that he loves out of the mess that they're in and blessing them. God will meet you right where you're at. See, listen, we got to stop thinking we got to fix ourselves and get it all together and be perfect before we come to the Lord. And this is where many churches mess up a lot of times. They want you to fix yourself and get yourself all together before you come. But they'll be the same ones that say, oh, come as you are. You are supposed to come as you are, but you can't tell somebody come as you are, but at the same time tell them, no, you got to fix yourself before you get here or we won't let you come. No, it's time, listen, it's time that people understand that when it comes to the presence of God, they can come as they are and God will meet them where they are and God will get them out of where they are and will bless them. God will fix the person as long as the person wants to be fixed. All they have to do is have the open heart. Come on, have the open heart for the transformation. That's all it takes. And so, whoever needs this word, all because of your faithfulness and your persistence towards God, God is getting ready to move and shift some things, just like how you've had somebody behind the scenes trying to control and manipulate certain circumstances and situations. Now God's about to put his hand in it, and he's about to manipulate some situations and some circumstances in your favor. And he is about to bless you. But listen, And I want you to hear this part as I wrap this up. Noah, it probably may have kind of hurt Noah to see some people be washed away in this flood. He gets to go on the ark, but others don't. That being said, although this is going to be a time of celebration for you, celebrate the good that God is doing in your life. But do not celebrate the downfall of some of these people that God is removing you from. Don't celebrate their washing away, if that's how you want to put it. Don't celebrate their downfall. Don't celebrate their loss. Don't celebrate their sudden hardship when God removes you suddenly from them. Celebrate what God is doing for you, but don't celebrate the downfall of others. Because this is a time, listen, if anything, just pray for them. Because this is a time where, listen, they are going to have to learn to, listen, truly lean on God and do what the Lord wants them to do. Not try to control you and other people to stay afloat. They are going to have to learn to lean on God the way you have. They've watched how you've leaned on God, but they don't want to have to lean on God. But they're going to have to get over it. They're going to have to get over themselves. They got to let go of the pride and the ego that won't let them just lean on the Lord. They're going to have to do it. They just have to. So you're going to see some people that God is going to remove you from, and they're going to be going through some stuff. And some of the people are going to want you to help them. But listen, you need to pray, because some of these people, God does not want you to help them, because if you do, you're going to interfere in what the Lord is trying to do in their life. Because some of these people, God is trying to show them some things. He's trying to teach them to lean on Him, not keep coming back to you to pull out of your pocket and keep that cycle of money coming in but going out for you. Because it's not what the Lord wants. You know how to manage and budget your money now. So He's trying to bless you. They're the ones that's fixing to have to learn how to budget. Not just keep always robbing Peter to pay Paul. I'm going to share this and I'm going to wrap this up. Years ago, many of y'all know I had a different online ministry similar to this one, but it was under a different name. It was under Cow Power Ministries. And I remember I did a sermon, and if I remember correctly, I think it was called Up, Up, and Away. But even if that wasn't the name of it, that was the theme of the sermon, was Up, Up, and Away. And I was talking to somebody, and I was explaining how God was getting ready to take you out of a certain situation, and He was going to do it when people least expected it, when people weren't even paying attention, almost like when Scripture says Jesus comes like a thief in the night. He comes when you least expect it. And I was explaining that when God gets ready to remove you from the situation, it's going to be just like that. It's going to happen like somebody is a thief in the night coming to, instead of stealing something, they're coming to take you away, right? And I was saying He's going to take you up, out of the situation and away to something better. And I was talking about how I had recently gone to a graduation. I went to go see some relatives of mine at a graduation, and the graduation was held outside. And I was talking about how I was in a certain angle watching this. And as I'm watching, the people come and get their diploma and everybody's clapping and cheering, I had looked over and I noticed that there was a balloon that had somehow gotten away from all the other balloons that were being tied down, right? And this balloon had gotten away, and it was slowly going up, 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 up. And for some reason, this balloon just had my attention. And I kept doing this. I kept looking at the balloon and looking at everybody else and looking at the balloon and looking at everybody else. And I was trying to see if anybody else was noticing this balloon or not. And nobody else was noticing this balloon but me. And I just kept looking back and forth, and I saw the balloon go up, up real slow. And then all of a sudden, instead of going up, the balloon started going off to the side, and it was just going away. First, it was going up, 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 and then it was going away, 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 away. And I felt it in my gut, and I knew it was going to end up being a sermon, and all I was thinking was, Lord, what are you saying right now? And I felt it. It was like the Lord was saying, up, up, and away. I had such a good time with that message. But I'm here to let somebody else know in this sermon, you're about to go up, up, and away. Yeah, God's just getting ready to do something. Listen, it ain't gonna be when you expect it, it'll be when you least expect it. But one thing for sure, when he does it, it's gonna be quick. And no one's gonna see it coming. And the best part is no one's gonna be able to stop it. Lord, I thank you for another time to minister another word. Lord, I pray that whoever would need this message, that they would tune in, that they will receive this word. Lord, that they would grab tight to this word and be excited and ready for what you're going to do. But Lord, I pray that whoever needs this, that they're ready not only to receive what you have, but that they're ready to detach from whoever and whatever is a hindrance to them. Because how can they grab what you have for them if they already have something or someone else in their hands that they need to let go of? Lord, I give you all the praise, all the glory, and all the honor. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.